my cry and delivered me out of my situation. And I'm glad tonight that I can truly be a testimony up in here that when I called my backup, he showed up right on time. I believe I got a couple witnesses up in here who can shout with me for a moment that the good news is when I called my backup, it didn't take him long to get here, but he showed up just like that. I'm glad that when other folk called me to show up, I waited until the last minute. I was always running behind. I never could be on time. I never could be dependent on, but I'm so glad, y'all, that God is not like some of us, because God shows up just when we need him. He may not come in and tell you I'm here, but he's somewhere working around the scene trying to prepare the place for you. Oh, wait, behold, I go and prepare a place. Come here, John chapter 14. I go prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither thou goest, ye know, and the way. In Thomas, in that particular text in verse number 5, John 14 and 5, that's another word, another backup number for you, 145. Here it is, doubting Thomas says to Jesus, Jesus, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? In verse number 6 in that particular text, 146, y'all, it says simply this: Jesus responded to Thomas, Thomas, wait a minute, you've been hanging with me all this long time, and you don't know how, and you don't know the way. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. That means you've been going trying to get to your destination from every which way. But guess what? God told me to tell you there's only one way. That way is you got to go through the Son, because whom the Son has set free is truly free indeed. I hope I ain't boring y'all with my numbers, but I just believe that somebody should have understood that all you got to do is call on your backup, call on them in the time of trouble, call on them when everything is going good, and understand that God will show up. God will never leave you out, because the Bible told me he'll never put more on me than I can bear. So even though my situation looks a little heavy, even though it's weighing me down, I can shout with the good news that I ain't failed yet. And as long as God is on my side, I can stand a lot more than what the world tells me I can stand. They told me I wouldn't make it without them, but guess what, y'all? We still here. They told us we would never be anything, but guess what? We still here. I ain't got to be a scientist. I ain't got to be a doctor. Oh, wait a minute, I got the title. I ain't got to be this, that, or the other. But the good news is all I want to do is be a child of God. Because if I understand, if I be a child of God, I can get something greater than any salary that a doctor could ever make. I can get something greater than any salary a scientist will ever make. I can make more than a man who's flown to the moon, as long as I've got God on my side. I believe that somebody still ain't caught it yet. But you didn't call all those numbers, but you still need a few more. Well, come here, 1 and 1. Come here to number 11. Because the Bible told me in Genesis 1 and 1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Come here, John 1 and 1. John said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So that means as long as I've got the Word, y'all, I want to preach that thing. As long as I got the Word, that's all I need in my life. Come here, John chapter number 14, chapter number 15, verse number 5. I am the vine, ye are the branch. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. Come here, John chapter 14, verse number 26. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I've said unto you. Come here, Zechariah, who said, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Oh, I want to work that. You can't do it on your own. You can't do it in your own power, but just by the Spirit of God. And God said, behold, I'll pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, so that you'll be able to do the things that I once did. And I raised a question in here tonight. Is there anybody that says I can push a little further? Because I got some backup on my side. I can push a little more because I got some backup on my side. I can push a little more because I know that when I call on him, he'll answer my prayers. When I call on him, he'll show up in my situation. When I call on him, I don't have to worry about if he'll judge me, but he'll show up right on time. And is there anybody up in here that can say, I'll call on him in the the morning. I'll call on him in the noonday. I'll call on him when ain't nobody around. I don't need a church to shout in to give God glory. But I'll shout in my house. I'll shout on the bus. I'll shout in the cab. I'll shout in the laundromat. I'll shout in Family Dollar or Walmart. As long as God has been good to me, I can't afford not to praise his name. Is there anybody up in here on a Wednesday night that can shout that God will show up and he'll show up right on time? I tried the Lord and he showed up. I sought the Lord and I found him, and I can trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thy own understanding. Let me get back to the text.
Go ahead.
Ezekiel prophesied after the Lord gave him utterance. Check out this, y'all. It's the last verse I'll give you. And when I beheld, verse number 8, lo, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and skin covered them above. But there was no breath in them. So Ezekiel had to go back and prophesy again. Some things take more than one word. We want a one-word manifestation, but sometimes it takes more than one word. Now check this out. God would have never led Ezekiel to the valley if God didn't know that Ezekiel could make those bones live. What you're pushing through now, the question is, did God lead you to the valley? Or did you just go? Did you go because you were comfortable? Or did you go because God led you? Not God let you, but God led you. God will let us do a whole lot of stuff.
Yes, he do.
But did he lead you there? Are you going through hell because you somewhere that he didn't lead you?
You're right.
Are you wavering in your faith because you somewhere that God didn't lead you? Or as I gave you the example earlier, were you on a tour bus going through the valley and you decided to get off?
The wrong stuff.
Yeah.
What's your situation?
Yes, God.
Why are you going through what you're going through?
That's a good question, that.
And are you prophesying
The situation.
in your own name? Or because God told you to prophesy? Are you still in your situation? Because you're prophesying what you want God to say and not what he said. You know, I'm there. I've stayed in some situations because I wanted God to change the situation.
Me too.
When God was actually just trying to change my location.
Yes.
I'm focused on the situation. God was focused on my location. Why are you where you are?
Be honest.
Are you there because it's familiar? Are you there because you love what's in the situation? Or are you there because you're just disobedient?
Go ahead, Pastor. Help us, Lord. Be honest.
Ezekiel could have left the valley at any time. But he stayed there because he knew that life would come because he had a word from the Lord. He didn't wait until a word showed up. God led him there and then spoke a word.
Yes, he did.
Are you still waiting on God to speak? Or has he already spoken and you just don't like the answer?
Help us, Lord. Go ahead,
It's a
Pastor.
real question.
You sure is a good question. Yeah, be honest. Yes, Lord.
Wow. That we don't realize that we're actually out of the valley. There was a preacher, a friend of mine, a few years ago. He stood and he declared a word. I was free before I was free. Some of us are still in bondage, not knowing that the shackles have already been broken. How long do you stay chained before you realize that the chains are already gone? That we know we don't belong. Physically and mentally.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Your mind can go places. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. That you're not prepared to handle. And Ezekiel said, I've got a word to prophesy to these bones so that they can live and not stay dead. Why would you prophesy a word over your own life to live, but keep getting contaminated by dead people or dead situations? If I trust God, why would I be with somebody that don't?
Right.
That's not even relationship-wise. I'm talking about friendship. Matter of fact, even in church, I can't sit beside nobody that don't trust God. Why? Because church is worse than a cold. You can catch it just as quick. Doubt is contagious.
Yes, it is.
Praise, real praise,
Real praise.
is contagious.
Very contagious.
Ignorance
Yes.
is contagious.
Yes. Jealous about all that.
Exactly. This is what we don't want to do. We don't want to stay in a situation prophesying to something that God himself has told us to leave.
Help us, Lord. Help me, Lord.
It only gets worse.
Yes, it do.
It never gets better. Why stick around and have somebody beat you up with the very bones you're trying to bring back to life? You know, they got that old saying, and I'm done. They got that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. That's the biggest lie that you have ever heard in your life. Words do hurt, and sticks and stones, they will do more than break your bones, but they can kill you too. And I'm talking about spiritually. Ezekiel, can these bones live? I'm not calling nothing back to life that somebody's going to use to kill me. Think about that for a second. What have you resurrected and then somebody used against you? At work, we talk so frequently about folks throwing people up under the bus. But we just be joking in my little group.
That's real, though.
But why would I continue to sit with somebody, sup with somebody, be in a relationship with somebody? They keep throwing me up under the bus. If you don't believe you can live, nobody else is going to believe that you can live. I'm done. I hope somewhat in the beginning, I didn't intend to come here and preach tonight like I did. I really didn't. I promise y'all.